Despite its efforts, Britain is no longer at the top of the global order, according to the UK's former top civil servant. The UK has fallen off the precipice as a global power despite its attempt to continue acting as it did in the last century, Express has been told. It comes as Britain settles into its new role on the international stage after Brexit and pursues a new kind of multilateral diplomacy. The UK's departure from the EU has confronted it with the momentous task of redrafting its international identity while simultaneously pursuing its former role as a hard power broker around the world. For Downing Street, the opportunity to carve out a new path has enabled it to strengthen long-standing roles in key multilateral organisations. But for Lord Simon MacDonald, the UK's most senior civil servant up until recently, things couldn't be further from the truth, and the country, in terms of hard power, is a shadow of its former self. I worked for the Foreign Office for 38 years, and I agree that the UK is still a big country on the international stage. There are 193 in the United Nations and the UK is one of the top half-dozen powers, he told Express. But what has changed since the UK was the biggest or preponderant power is other countries catching up and overtaking. In 2023, the US and then China are so far ahead of everybody else, that I think only those two countries can be categorized as superpowers. Everybody else in comparison is medium-sized. So even though we are a big country, and we have a lot to offer in many spheres, in the terms that we're used to thinking of ourselves, in hard power terms, we are not at the top anymore. The process of Britain's decline as a hard power has been happening for decades, according to Lord MacDonald, who is the former head of the Diplomatic Service and Permanent Undersecretary at the Foreign and Commonwealth